Good morning, dear guests and conference participants. We had a very intensive and hectic day yesterday, and I hope you liked atmosphere and your networking chance which we provided for you with our gala dinner. And in fact, by evaluating yesterday, we found out that in fact we did quite a good job in looking on those two, in fact, separate policies, one which is regional policy and another is policy of research excellence. And we found out that the difference between these two are quite challenging, because one is inclusive policy and another is exclusive policy. Well, we had yesterday indeed the exchange of minds and thoughts and opinions between very good practitioners, policymakers, practitioners, which allows us really to make some steps forward about the policy framework we are gathered here for. But today we have a pleasure and honor to receive and give a floor to the President of Committee of Regions, who will most probably swing us into the next debate and dialogue level, which is about how to govern and how to orchestrate the regional innovation policy harmonization. Please, Mr. Markku Markkula.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it's really a great, not just an honor, but especially a pleasure to be here. I'm on my way home, having chaired 2 days the plenary of the Committee of the Regions in Brussels, and in between the plenary sessions, and actually Monday, Tuesday, before that, I was contributing in 4 different conferences, giving either an opening or a panel presentation, and interesting dealing with this issue. So the topics, Monday started with the e-leadership and the skills of the future, what do we need? Tuesday was, along with the Commissioner Corina Crețu, about the urban forum and what will be the next steps on that. Then yesterday, after our plenary, I was opening the special conference with China on the integrating the new investments with the ICT development. And then after that, opening a special Polish conference of 25 years as a self-governance based on decentralization, how their experience is and what to do next. And now jumping from that, so highlighting some of the key elements of the, let's say, the regional development, but especially how we can be more innovative, how we can speed up the desired change in Europe. And I have prepared a set of a bit more than 20 slides. I will go through some of them quite fast. I've as well hidden a few, so that you will have them as well, the hidden ones, for your information, because in some of those there is quite a lot of text as well. But I want to start with one of the highlights that we had yesterday. We had the plenary making decisions about our Committee of the Region priorities for the next 5 years. This is a 5-year term that just started, and I was elected the new president in the meeting 12th of February, so I've just been less than 4 months with this role and duty, and actually the decision whom, or even the decision with my own political group, EPP, we made just the last day of January who will be our candidate for the presidency, and then just the evening prior to the plenary. So then we finally came to the joint understanding with the other big group, the socialist group, that who will start. So now I know that I will lead the Committee of the Region representing all the regions of Europe with the COR as an EU institution. So I need to stress heavily that although that in the EU decision-making we are not directly a legislative decision-making body, but based on the Lisbon Treaty or originating to Maastricht Treaty, we are an EU institution. We are a strong voice from the cities and regions, so representing those with 350 full members, mainly regional mayors, city mayors, people, elected people from around Europe. And we come regularly, or go regularly to Brussels 5 or 6 times a year for 2 or 3 day plenaries, and then in addition we have a lot of other activities going on. So with this, and serving now 2.5 years as a president, and after that another 2.5 years as a first vice president. So it's really a good opportunity really to push forward some of the priorities. And I want to start spending a bit time on the dialogue that we had partly bilateral basis yesterday. I had that before our plenary part where President Juncker then introduced his recent ideas and how the Commission is working. So we had this public debating as well, more than an hour yesterday, and I just wanted to share with you, not trying to cover the whole spectrum, but share something that and these are the issues that came in the dialogue, not to say that these are exactly some of the priorities of that dialogue, but showing on that whatever you have now discussed here yesterday, looking at the program, so this is very important for the whole Europe. But it as well so that the whole, what President Juncker stressed heavily all the time, the social dimension. We need to get people on board. We need to get the kind of fresh start with opening the eyes of people and get more commitment to make changes to happen. And on that, what is now one of the core instruments is the investment package. But even with that, now we stressed, and he stressed to us, that we, from the region side, we need to do more to find new, fresh investment targets. And there I added to that, yes, it needs to have a soft dimension, human capital dimension, startup or entrepreneurship dimension, so that it's not just, let's say, infrastructure and housing investments. And that kind of leads the different other elements on that. But we need to increase this kind of, what is there said, the structured territorial dialogue. And part of that, what we from the Committee of the Region side, we are kind of bringing a bit new element jointly with the Commissioner Carlos Moedas. We agreed and announced already a couple of months ago that we will create a joint regional knowledge kind of knowledge sharing platform, knowledge co-creation platform, not just a website. And know that DG Research is operating now on that jointly with the COR. We want to, let's say, move on step by step, but define that our targets are much more than a traditional way for sharing information. And that is important. And now with this presentation as well, I want to look a bit back to some of the results of the previous WIRE conferences, because I've been contributing in 2 of the previous WIRE conferences. I even included here a few slides from those, what I did at that time. So what were the thoughts coming out of both the Krakow WIRE and then the Cork WIRE during the Irish presidency. But let's move on, and I want as well to highlight that we have renewed a lot of the work of the Committee of the Regions. We have quite clear focus. Now this was the first time as such, so that we prepared as a president's contribution 3-4 page kind of priority list of certain openings that we want to do, and that was after some amendments that was approved yesterday in the plenary. No one voted against the final outcome of that, so we have a strong base for that, and that's for the whole 5-year term. And I just took the first part of that, which is what does this growth and sustainable job mean for us? What are the instruments? Because that the whole priority resolution includes kind of 5 key topics, the last one being more focus on the citizen level, but I took the first one because that's more instrumental for the work of you, and took that out of those definitions what we have there. I selected maybe, let's say, a bit less than half of those, or half of the words, because many are written a bit a longer format, but these are really the words of those. So what to do: boosting entrepreneurial spirit, creating right conditions for digital networks and services to flourish, maximizing the growth potential of the digital economy, boosting research and innovation capacity of the regions, and bridging the digital and innovation divide between them, making the best use of KICs and GETs as a means to being at the forefront of managing the shift to a low-carbon and knowledge-based economy, stimulating leading inter-regional networks such as the Vanguard initiative that has put the industrial renaissance at the core of their smart specialization activities, and supporting the increase of innovative e-government, removing key difference between the online and offline worlds, and strengthening the urban agenda. So if we look these as a kind of set for more detailed action, so this is much what the WIRE conferences have reviewed during the last years. But it's now time to move to the next phase. And that's my challenge, and I have here a few of the proposals how we could move on, and part of these are already thought and discussed with our COR staff, to be working with the different DGs within the Commission. Let's see if they want to show that what does it, smart specialization, how we see that. And I was not the originate person to draw this, but people within our COR had thought that, okay, how to see, how to define the bigger picture, the frame. And for us, coming from the cities and regions, so smart specialization is there, the core instrument, integrating, creating synergy between the different, both the financing instruments of the Commission, but as well the EU semester system, how to renew the business and governance operations of the whole EU and the member states. I don't want to go to detail, but think about those, add a few elements, and next phase, after a couple of months with our platform, will as well be, so what kind of concrete examples there are in those boxes in between. They are the instruments to make the changes to happen. And there we are calling for our regions to bring their good examples, and even the Vanguard initiative was already that advanced so that it was, after the vote, added to our priority list as an example. Because we want to have not just policy phrases, but we want to have concrete activities defined and implemented. And there is as well a stairway to excellence. So what does it mean in concrete terms? I will have later on the, let's say, kind of a bit traditional picture already, so that where to use the structural funds in linking that with the Horizon 2020. But that's a clear message as well, that the regions most of the regions have quite a lot of structural funds, cohesion funding in their use, and they should use that now in building the future of the human capital. linked to even to innovation infrastructure, but especially the mental change what we need. I want to highlight, and I put there the label of the Parliament magazine because I made the article there, just wrote that 1 or 2 weeks ago with highlighting key messages for this conference, so you can read that from the article there, but for you as well, so that when today is as well summing up the outcomes of this wire and hopefully a bit about the previous one. So we need to clarify, not to go to repeat what we have done already a long time with what is smart specialization and why it's important, but say a few that what does it mean. So I've listed there 3 principles, how and what way we can make the smart specialization a success in the near future. And the first one, it's above all, it's a process, an economic transformation process. And there, with the arrow, I saw that it means high priority actions that the local level need to put on this. It's not just that something obligatory paper that every region need to make and approve, but it's really guiding the work. The second is more precisely to the political decision makers to go themselves, individual. I'm along as well. So what does an innovation ecosystem mean? And I've as well challenged, actually before knowing that I would be the president of the COR, so I started to initiate a special book about how to orchestrate regional innovation ecosystems. And when there were, let's say that I tried to get key people who do research on these issues, but some of the missing elements were a bit too complicated that the researchers said that they are afraid to write anything on that because it's not yet been studied enough. But I said, okay, let me then do that. I'll spend 3-4 days in writing a 10-page article, and now we kind of covered the elements. And this is just one of the stepping stones. And we had this just going on print when I was elected and had the first meeting with Commissioner Carlos Moedas, and he was happy then to write the cover text, so why to go a bit deeper on the book itself. It's publicly available through the net, and I will provide the net link there as well. And I had just a few copies along with me when I came here. Gave, by the way, yesterday one of these books to Jean-Claude Juncker as well, so that encourage his own learning process, although knowing his time limits are really tough. Okay, but let's move on. The third point, so that we need pioneering regions. And every region can be a pioneer. That's important thing to know. And for that, we need this platform kind of thinking. And platform is not just a technical platform for sharing information. It's much more for collaboration. A couple of slides from the previous WIRE conferences. This was I participated. I was having in a concluding plenary in WIRE in Krakow. And this was the list of 5 key points that I promised to take to the COR. And now I'm quite really happy that when I now went back to these materials, I was able to recognize that actually we have done much of that with the different commissions, with our staff, with the President's cabinet as well. So just to want to highlight here, so that maybe the number 3 there, Horizon needs to include a strong regional dimension, and this needs to be integrated to the cohesion policy instruments in developing a stairway to excellence. And that's much what's now going on. It's been a bit slow, the process. Dimitri, you've tried hard, but you need to push the others as well to do as much work as it's needed. And then I want to highlight the first one, focus on concentration, cooperation and connection. Lambert van Nistelrooy, you were the first at least to deliver those key words to me several years ago. So how to move on instead of control and command and so on, how to have more concentration, cooperation, connection. So even with C's you can have the positive ones instead of the traditional controlling focused ones. Another that I had this list presented in Wire in Ireland during their presidency. That's the list that actually then I will be working now over the weekend with the special Aalto Camp for Societal Innovation. We have 70 people in Espoo, Finland, now just started this morning, a 3-day camp focusing on these concrete measures to move on a local and regional basis, but as well on a European scale. What does open innovation mean? What is smart citizen, how to move on with that, highlighting there to create incentives to encourage openness to innovation and experimentation. We need to move more towards experimenting, piloting, rapid prototype, making new things to happen instead of planning. At the Wire conference there, I challenged the people describing a bit about the regional information modeling, how we are using the latest research findings of ICT jointly with industry and the city, how to take the urban planning to the next phase. And my message there that we have already the scientific breakthroughs and application trade. What we need more now, it's the mindset changes and more in art and design, make those kind of instruments more attractive, and then the business models for them to be used. My message now today strongly is that we need to describe this change process as a smart urban design process with a strong human focus, so that people are engaged heavily, and this can be portrayed as a layered structure of built and natural environments, integrating both physical and virtual platforms, human-centric applications, and the user-driven collaboration process. And this is something that we need to take in all our local urban planning activities. One of my hats, it's like I want to keep that at least for some years, that being the chair of the Espoo City Planning Board, where we meet regularly twice a week, make the decision of this development. What does this regional information modeling mean in practice? The visible part is there, that the brown one, the future smart city, concrete terms, what happens in the environment and in the neighborhood, and then we have their digital smart city platforms, other instruments, software, etc. Much more open access software. It means as well that what does this strengthening urban dimension mean in concrete terms? Finland made the decision to use the 5% of the structural funds on innovation platform, open data, open infrastructures, and that's what now is focused for the 6 largest cities, and much integrated on this urban planning concrete change, but as well making the new things happen where the citizens are the drivers. I took here a couple of the slides, something about this networking, because we had already in the priorities, we had this Vanguard initiative, new developments in industrial renaissance, manufacturing, what is the focus of the Vanguard. But I took as well a couple of slides about the open, agile, smart cities to show that there's already much going on inside, funded at least partly by the Commission, so we need to be part of that kind of movement. Many of the cities are already on this, and more to come to have these concrete examples how to move on. These are kind of a few of the key elements provided by those teams who are working now on that, how we kind of create the market or the agora of knowledge co-creation. That is crucial as well, and that's one of my roles, is now to keep on going and looking for what is going on all around in Europe. Hopefully, so it's all should be kind of multi-financed, so that they fit to the change processes what we need to do at the moment. But it needs us here integrating digitalization to the city development, or as well integrating more and more companies and business development of that, moving on more to the service side. Example, because Wire has always been further moving activities, so take into account a bit more complicated technology issues as well. This is just an example of that open innovation platform development where the city of Oulu in northern Finland, so they are developing very strongly with the other cities, the 3D activities in urban planning, take that in a concrete terms in the measurement activities. And I know that it works because I need to use that more or less every second week, but we can be much more advanced that we use, not just to deliver the nice big pictures of the coming city and housing planning through the web, but we can move that more interactive, and there we need this development. Another link then, no, I'm not going to detail, but encourage with this slide as well, you go to look the text more. What does it mean when we think about what's happening in digital single market when we integrate that to the city development? Another integrated concrete thing is, so again, looking more from the city perspective, how we have the different elements of both preparing the master plan for the city, getting people on board, getting the new business development, business clusters developing in my city. So we are developing the new business and service developments around the new metro extension, extending the metro subway from downtown Helsinki to the west. Part of that will be opened the end of next year, and that means a huge booming for new kind of businesses. But it's up to the city to be the enabler of that kind of growth business as well. And this as well, so what we are doing and operating in the open environment using the 3D and 4D visualized pictures. Some of you were participating already a year ago in June. We organized with COR and a few regions where we used this map of Europe. We had the working teams on the virtual reality. Now we are using the same virtual reality system in this Aalto Camp for Societal Innovation, and Monday, Tuesday next, so we are having the Open Innovation 2.0 organized in Espoo, Finland, and there we are having part of the whole conference on that virtual reality. So you can go to follow that through the web streaming, but as well contribute through the different elements of that. Something that I want to encourage, that there's much going on in parallel, just highlighting that with OECD, which is one of our good collaborators for the Committee of the Regions, so they are doing much at the moment, especially how to encourage good public investment, and then they are doing that, dividing that in 3 pillars, and the one in the middle, strengthening capacities for public investment and promote learning across levels of government. So learning is the key here, because we all need to be learners on these issues. And as well, a good study towards a new architecture, public sector innovation. There I've highlighted this diffusion and scaling up of good practice, how to take the next measures on that. So we have a lot of this material. We need to start more kind of bottom-up movement where we are implementing all of these from the region and city perspective. And this a picture that in a bit different formats many of you have seen, but for me it's very crucial one to show that with the structural funds we can get much better, much more to the innovation targeted research on Horizon to be planned and to be implemented. Both the kind of planning phase for the good high quality Horizon projects, but as well the implementation phase, and what we stress, and that's one of the targets of this regional knowledge platform with the COR and the Commission and Joint Research Centre, is that we can get much more out of the ongoing Horizon research, not to wait that the research program is over, but during the program already. And there we should be using the structural funds by the decision of the regions. I have here actually 2 slides listed concrete proposals that what we see of important on that. I've already hidden one, but here the last one is how to link and how to move on this knowledge exchange platform for regional innovation, how to link that to be linked heavily with the Stairway to Excellence and these kind of learning camps, etc. And my conclusion then, I wrote that in the Parliament magazine, so I need to stick with that, so because it's now openly published, so that I'm challenging, and we are COR, we are challenging especially DG Research, DG Regio and the Joint Research Centre to form some kind of a small team of experts. We don't want to call that a high-level expert group. We don't want to have that officially working on that, but take the concrete steps further on, invite a few of the other people to participate in a couple of the small workshops, kind of working body to move on and get the new answers to these burning questions. How do we encourage regions to take a pioneering role? How do we make use of the experiences of these three strategies and their implementation process, increasing the renewal capital of regions and giving a special focus on the role of the decision makers? We need to get the decision makers realizing that the importance of this kind of work, what is going on at the moment. And that means this bottom-up movement. I think, thank you, that it is so. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy if someone has burning questions or whatever questions, so I'm happy to spend just a few minutes on answering on that. Thank you very much.
Lambert van Nistelrooy, member of European Parliament. I will speak later today, but isn't it that you have huge knowledge and you develop good methods? How do you communicate this with your national governments? How do you communicate this with European Parliament? How do you communicate it in the debates with European Commission on, let me say, the next phase, financial, midterm review, etc. So I admire your work, but I see so less outside of all what you do. Where are you in the political debate?
Yep. Very, very important issue. So what I'm seeing now when I compare what we had 3 years ago in Wire in Krakow, so we were not that many political decision makers who include these kind of innovation elements in their own speeches. So I see there a good progress, but especially that is due to the reason that Europe 2020 strategy, the targets cannot be reached without this kind of bottom-up movement. And then it means that hundreds or thousands, tens of thousands of people who have done different these innovative EU-funded or locally funded projects. So they need to be, let's say, taking action. How to communicate it just is that I need to do, you need to do, and you are doing that properly, really very well. Many others, we need to take these issues in the discussions with the different, both the institutional level, organize more interinstitutional collaboration, where as an example, so we are bringing these concrete terms. So what do the regions need? What they are willing to do? We already now officially as well started to negotiate actually in detail with the coming Dutch presidency a year from now with a special urban forum, big event at the end of May next year, where to focus on these concrete terms and make the program of that, because that will be linked with the unofficial ministerial meeting. So concrete terms about the action. We yesterday had already the meetings with the Slovak representatives at the Committee of the Regions, the mayor of Bratislava and the regional mayor of Bratislava and their whole delegation. They made the concrete decision that they want to have jointly with the COR a special presidency summit in the fall 2016 when they are having the EU. And again, so use this kind of a high-level meetings as well, so that places where these issues are targeted, and not just the repeating the nice principles, but the concrete actions. And that's where we need these, let's say, the network-based activities of the EU.
Okay, and other questions? Yeah.
My name is Jan Stabulnik, Latvian Technology Center. Thank you very much for very, very interesting and very targeted presentation. But my question is, these strategies and policies are perfect and very good. Other part of that is how to manage this, how to guide this. And there we are coming back to financial questions. So, for example, these strategies, innovation policies, it is European policy also, public procurement for innovation. In Latvia, I hope nobody can explain what does it mean, since we have only one criteria, it is lowest, cheapest price, yeah, or lowest price. So that means that we need to improve also, in parallel with such activities, some maybe legislation acts or some financial instruments, how to realize in life these very nice strategies. What is your view on that? Thank you very much.
Let's say, again, experimenting, piloting, prototyping. Already for a couple of years, very often the commissioners and key EU officials have said, why don't you use more your structural funds? We have as well Interreg funding. Being here in Latvia, so Latvia is part of the Interreg on the Baltic Sea. Latvia is part of the Central Baltic as well, which is another Interreg. And I've now, within the last couple of months, talking with many of these, let's say, regional decision makers, governmental level as well. So tried to convince that why don't we here, either in the Central Baltic or the whole Baltic, why don't we build an Interreg which is close to the political decision making, but it's really more the bottom up about the innovation hubs. What does it mean for the brain drain? To keep young people there or send them abroad, but be so attractive that they will come back. And this is where we actually should not only wait that, okay, do we get this Interreg approved, but start with the existing funding, because it's more really using time of some of us, including me. We are working on with this, what I said, the innovation camp, when we are looking now over the weekend, what does it mean for Europe to start experimenting some new activities using the existing opportunities with this open innovation, how to encourage open innovation in Europe much more. So it needs then to start up with a few kind of change agent groups, people, small teams, but then look that and sell the idea to the regional decision makers, so that, okay, for them, for the decision maker, this seeing the role of innovation, that crucial, so that they should invest some of their time, or at least be supporting or pushing forward that this kind of Interreg networking on what does it mean to have a kind of startup innovation hubs which are integrating young people with the older experts, integrating industry already going on, integrating venture capitalists, or creating something new. Because here as well, I've talked during my previous Latvian visits with some of your young people, so they have great ideas. They are eager to do that, but they are looking for the opportunities, and that's one of the instruments, is the whole Interreg that we have in our use.
Any more questions? In fact, I have a question, if I dare.
Please.
Well, we here sometimes are a little bit puzzled with perceptions that, in fact, Ministry of Education and Science, and being responsible for research, of course, is a kind of a policy maker for long-term policy. So in very direct, sharp and immediate way, it is a little bit difficult to really be a part of this policy mix which is so much needed and desired for RIS3 strategy. So knowing that Finland is a one example of knowledge economy, what would you advise us as education and research policy makers?
I think what I had and have here the title of this book as well, orchestrating, and especially regional innovation ecosystem. I think that is something that the, let's say, the role of Ministry of Education, minister as well, should be important, because orchestrating these kind of things, it's a human touch, I would say, so that motivate people very strongly. But it's not that everything should be managed in a kind of traditional way, integrating everything to be part of one project. But it's having a separate development activities, project structured, but creating more synergy between each other. And then we need to be locally, regionally able to convince whatever you have, Ministry of Economic Development, so that they are in charge of the short term more, so that to see that building this mental change more towards innovativeness, that's crucial for the whole nation. With whatever international studies where we looked at GDP, so there has been some studies, and I've been a bit involved on those, so looking more at the results, so that we can see that the countries who have invested more on research and development and in their education system, so they are more at the top of this GDP development. And there we see that you cannot avoid, or you should not avoid, really looking on the long-term development as well, building a better, more challenging educational system. But that was kind of question asked by the Malopolska region in Poland, because they said that, okay, they actually a year ago they introduced us, the Committee of the Region people, that they have started a special project integrating universities and especially secondary school level to work together on the internet-based content. And they asked that how could they get more of this on a European level? And my answer was simple, so that there is already so much going on, so that if they are willing to invest some of their, let's say, own structural funds on to get that kind of activity going on, getting faster the good results. So start using that money for European partnerships, because that's the target of the Commission as well. So don't think that the structural funds, you should only use kind of inward looking for the costs of your own people, but attract some of the best experts who have created something new for this kind of collaboration. Get them from the other parts of Europe, so do something similar using their own funding, but kind of orchestrate this kind of collaboration. And there you are starting to see immediately as well the short-term results. So it is really having a few of these kind of good, well-targeted experiments, and through them showing on that this is something that the whole Europe can get more out of. This is something as well that I'm several times a month talking and working with several people of the Joint Research Center, including the Director General Vladimir Suha. So how we can take on board more of those less developed or lower level in innovation. We started that, why don't we call them the innovation builders? Take that a positive approach if the region is committed. So to get themselves in the category of an innovation builder, and then start collaborating with some of the more advanced ones.
Okay, let's give thank you to Mr.
Thank you.
Markku Markkula. Yeah.